But I do take the point that you're making, which is sound, is that people, it's a job, and like every other job, one wants to get maximum benefits.
Yes.
So let's put that particular line of discussion to rest and go back to the idea of the bigger picture. In Kenya, we seem to have a public discourse anyway, where you're sitting there having a drink with someone, and within seconds it will come to light that you're either pro Uhuru or pro Odinga, and great schisms are being created. People are not looking at the subtleties of the final picture because they're just too busy being tribal, for want of a better word.
This is the major problem that Kenya faces. Africa as well, parts of Africa that were colonized by the British. If it was the German colonization like Tanzania, they wouldn't have been there. That tribalism would be there. But it's something that we want. Everything has a positive to it. You know, ethnic politics is a danger, but to crystallize and accentuate the positive is our job. Now, if that chasm comes, we are not going to support, like myself, ODM and Raila Odinga blindly. But we feel that, let's say Raila Odinga is my party leader. I see him having a vision, and I've seen that vision actualize in Kisumu. You know, we sat with him in 2000. We were talking, before 2000, we were talking about the Kisumu airport and other things. We've also seen him as a Prime Minister, and whether we feel that as a Prime Minister, did we get what we wanted as Luo Nyanza or as Nyanza? I think we want to now say, did Kenya get what it wanted? Now, that doesn't mean that everything that Uhuru Kenyatta says or does is wrong, and everything that Ruto says is wrong. I myself stood up, and I said in my response to the presidential speech that to have a vision is not bad. Even this vision about the computers for children, it's a good vision. The thing is, can you actualize that vision? Is it implementational? I mean, Paul Kagame said vision without implementation is hallucination. So are we going down the track of hallucination? And that is what we see ourselves as opposition to say, hold on a minute, I think you made a little bit of a mistake here. You have been given this car to drive, but remember there are 5 million people who did not vote for you, but you are their president. Whether we like it or not, you are our president. We are not going to shoot you down just because you won or whatever the election, but the Supreme Court says you did, we accept it. Now, I think the best way possible for us politicians is to work in tandem and to make sure that the Parliament, the Jubilee government now delivers.
Right. May I suggest...
But not on political, just because...
Right. May I ask you, the Kagame phrase,
yes,
implementation or hallucination, can you suggest areas where you think that we may, or the present administration, the Jubilee government may be, to put it in quotes, hallucinating? They've got it wrong? Because you never went as far as to say, for example, the computer program, in your eyes, is wrong.
Well,
sort of fluid condemnation.
No, it's a very right thing, but at the wrong level. Right. The right program at the wrong level.
You feel it ought to be at what level?
At least standard 8,
right,
or 7, or secondary. The thing is, as you see, there are schools even in my constituency, well, thankfully not anymore, which they're sitting on stones, and they have Motope classrooms. Thankfully, that is one thing I finished with. How can you give a person a computer and he hasn't got enough to eat at home, and he's taking home a portable laptop? And the question is, what type of laptop? Will it end up in River Road, right, being sold? Because you see, the thing, you can give somebody a cake.
A given.
Yeah.
That's one area where you think maybe the debate can continue.
No, but I would like to. I'd like to say.
It wouldn't like to, because yes, you're saying there could be a reanalysis of the whole IT vision, starting off for very young children. What else?
What
is that
else?
is that the only thing that you've got to criticise in terms of Jubilee government policy?
No, no, no. There are other visions that they have. We're not criticizing. We're saying, for argument's sake, let's take this computer one for a minute. I've been working with the Rwandese government, with Paul Kagame, His Excellency, and I wanted to bring these computers to Kisumu, my constituency. And we've been working with this thing, and the Kenyan government at the time, the Ministry of Education, just threw us out. Paul Kagame, His Excellency, actually adopted me, my constituency, as part of the Rwandese community. Now, if they can buy 2 million computers, we can do this. And I think, but what we need is a Linux system. So what we're talking about is not that there's a vision is bad. Vision is good. Where do we put it? And that's where we can say that you made a mistake. Let's go and put it somewhere else. There are issues, perhaps even with the previous government, that I personally feel are potential white elephants, like the LabSet project, which is failing already, as we know.
The LabSet, elaborate for the view at large. What are you describing as the LabSet? I don't know.
The Lamu port and the train.
Right.
Yes.
You think a bad thing?
Well, actually,
opening up the whole of the continent.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's just that it's not for the bin. It's not going to help us, and it's going to. What you have to do, we have to learn lessons in the past.
Right.
Let's look at other places. Let's go to the Iran-Pakistan situation.
Point taken entirely. You're saying to expand a port, to make it huge and world-class, to be able to take a train that can take us to so many different countries, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Sudan, all the way to the Mediterranean, is not of its time. I don't understand that.
It's not of its time. Do you remember that the Pan-African road that was meant to be built from South Africa to Egypt, Tanzania has done their bit, Ethiopia has done their bit, we are not even done our bit. So I think those are the things that we need to work. You see, the thing is, the LabSet program is too big for us, and they spent $1 billion in the last government where Raila was the Prime Minister.
Right.
1 billion shillings to come and just welcome the presidents of the three countries. Now we asked, what, 1 billion shillings?
Well, you know, somebody might come back to you and say Barack Obama is going to spend 15 billion shillings in security to visit 3 countries. That's what it takes.
But they have the money, they have the infrastructure.
A big breakfast at the New Stanley or the Norfolk or whatever hotel takes a lot of money.
They have the infrastructure they've built over time.
Right.
You see, the thing is, we are a poor nation.
Right.
Our people are still struggling to get food 3 times a day or 2 times a day.
Right. So you're saying, let's look at the bigger picture. You're seeing the opposition Chord coalition as being an instrument of restraint for mega projects that will not immediately benefit the poor.
I see myself as an MP, a member of parliament, not opposition. A member of parliament to try and convince and lobby. In the opposition? In the opposition.
For 5 years, your agenda is not going to be at the top of the table because you're not calling the shots. You have to accept that.
No, that's it. You see, but
even if you proceed by analogy, if Mitt Romney and the Republicans are biding their time until next time, so what are you going to do in the 5 years that you are in opposition?
Let's just say this is just come from Finance Committee. We sat down not as opposition MPs and others. We sat down as MPs. We said, what is Vision 2030? Vision 2030 has 5 pillars. One is our tourism. Other one is industrialization. And these ones come under our committee. So what we said, okay, when the budget came to us, we said, let's put these things together. So we reallocated 2 billion each to these 2. 2 billion each to these 2. We went through, it was passed in the budget. It was passed. Now what happens is the budget committee comes along. And now, because the teachers have come last minute and we never planned for the teachers, and the our education committee didn't plan for it, now they say, there's nothing that the 2 billion is going to be done for tourism. Let's take the 2 billion away from tourism. Let us take it away from industrialization and give it to education teachers. We agree they wanted to be given money. But they're here for all members of the finance committee, whether you are opposition or whatever. And our chairman did say, look, we must help the Jubilee government, we must. But this is wrong.
Right.
So that's
right.
where we are. That's one example of what we are going to take into the parliament and fight for as a party, not as a committee, and not as opposition.
Right. I'll give you a minute, if I may, to say what you think you might achieve in the space of 5 years, the length of this present administration, as a final open-ended question.
I would like to see that at the end of this administration, that we are more we're not opinionated by way of which party we are, which tribe we are. I would like to be able to come back and see that the parliament the 11th parliament, and myself as my vision is to see that we go back as a united Kenya. That is my vision, and that is what I want to remain, and I think that is a very realizable vision, whether the people of Turkana see themselves as Kenyans, or the Somalis, or the Luos.
Shakeel Shabbir, MP for Kisumu East, thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you very much for seeing me.